Hey everyone, and welcome back to the English podcast with Mandy and Mark. It's great to have you here again for another exciting episode where we explore the intricacies of the English language and help you sound like a native speaker.
That's right, Mandy. And today, we're taking you on a journey to explore a topic that's close to many people's hearts: travel. Whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or you're dreaming of your next big adventure, being able to share your experiences in English is a fantastic way to connect with others and keep those memories alive.
Absolutely. We'll be diving into useful phrases for describing places you've visited, the people you've met, and even some funny mishaps along the way. Make sure to stick around until the end, where we'll have some fun exercises to test your knowledge and give you a chance to practice what you've learned. Don't forget to leave your answers in the comments section.
Let's get started. Today's episode will focus on practical vocabulary and expressions you can use to make your travel stories more engaging and descriptive, helping you truly capture the essence of your adventures.
You know, Mark, speaking of travel, I recently got back from a trip to Vietnam, and it was absolutely incredible. I can't wait to share some stories.
Oh wow, Vietnam. That's fantastic. I've always wanted to go. What impressed you the most?
Honestly, everything was amazing, from the vibrant culture to the breathtaking landscapes. The food was out of this world. I could eat pho every day. What really stood out, though, was the kindness of the people. They were so welcoming and helpful throughout my trip.
That's wonderful to hear. It's always the people that make a place truly special, don't you think? Did you have a chance to visit any historical sites?
Definitely. I explored the ancient city of Hue, which was fascinating. The architecture and history were mind-blowing. I even tried bargaining at the bustling Ben Thanh market in Ho Chi Minh City. Quite an experience.
Bargaining can be an art form. Did you manage to get any good deals?
I like to think so. I picked up some beautiful silk scarves and traditional lanterns. It was a bit overwhelming at times, but I learned to stand my ground and not be afraid to haggle a bit.
That's the spirit. It's all part of the experience, right? I remember when I traveled to Italy a few years back. I was blown away by the art and architecture, but I definitely had some funny moments trying to communicate with my limited Italian.
Oh, I can imagine. Language barriers can be challenging, but often lead to the best stories. Do you have a particular anecdote that comes to mind?
Well, there was this one time when I tried to order a cappuccino in a small cafe. I thought I was saying it correctly, but the barista looked at me with a puzzled expression. It turned out I was mispronouncing it completely, and he found it quite amusing. We both had a good laugh about it in the end.
That's hilarious. See, even these little miscommunications can become treasured memories. I think it's all about embracing the unexpected and being open to new experiences.
Absolutely. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone and allowing yourself to be fully immersed in a different culture.
Exactly. Now, tell me more about your Italy trip. Where else did you go besides the cafes?
Well, Rome was incredible, of course. The Colosseum was even more impressive in person. I also took a cooking class in Tuscany, which was a highlight. Learning to make pasta from scratch was so much fun.
Oh, how lovely. Did you bring back any culinary skills to impress your friends?
I try. Let's just say my pasta game has significantly improved since then. I even attempted to recreate some of the dishes from the class. It's not quite the same as being in Italy, but it's a delicious way to reminisce about the trip.
That sounds wonderful. Food really does have a way of transporting you back to a special time and place.
Definitely. Sharing meals and trying new cuisines is such an integral part of experiencing different cultures.
Couldn't agree more. It sounds like we've both had some incredible travel adventures.
Those were some fantastic stories, Mandy. It seems like we both have the travel bug. And you know what comes with exciting travel stories? New and interesting vocabulary. So, listeners, grab your notebooks, and let's dive into some key words and phrases that we use today. Mandy, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Let's start with vibrant, which I use to describe Vietnamese culture. Vibrant means full of energy, life, and excitement. You can use it to talk about a city with lots of activity, like Tokyo is such a vibrant city, with something new to discover around every corner.
Great explanation. I used the phrase blown away when describing my reaction to the art and architecture in Italy. It's a colloquialism that means to be extremely impressed or amazed by something. For example, you might say, I was completely blown away by her incredible singing voice.
Next, we have bargaining, which is the act of negotiating a price for something, especially in a marketplace. You can say, bargaining is common in many countries, so don't be afraid to negotiate for a better price.
A related word is haggling, which means to argue about the price of something. For example, we spent hours haggling with the vendor before finally agreeing on a price for the rug.
Don't forget overwhelming, which can describe a feeling of being overloaded or feeling like something is too much to handle. For instance, you could say, the sheer number of choices at the buffet was overwhelming.
Right? And remember, anecdote, which is a short, amusing, or interesting story about a real incident or person. You might share an anecdote by saying, my grandfather used to tell us hilarious anecdotes about his time in the Navy.
Miscommunication is another useful one, meaning a failure to communicate clearly, leading to misunderstanding. For example, the problem was caused by a miscommunication between the design team and the client.
And lastly, we have immersed, which means to be deeply involved or surrounded by something. You might say, she was so immersed in the book that she didn't even hear the phone ring.
Now that we've gone through some essential vocabulary, let's put your listening skills to the test. Remember to answer these questions in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Mark, go ahead and start us off.
All right, question number 1. Mandy mentioned a specific characteristic of Vietnamese culture that impressed her. What was it?
And for question number 2, I mentioned trying my hand at something at Ben Thanh Market. What was I doing there?
Okay, for question number 3, think back to my story about ordering a cappuccino in Italy. What was the humorous situation I found myself in?
And for our final question, let's get a bit personal. We'd love to hear about a memorable travel experience you've had. Share a brief anecdote with us in the comments. Don't forget to use some of the vocabulary we covered today.
Well, that was a whirlwind tour of travel vocabulary and stories. I don't know about you, Mandy, but I'm feeling inspired to pack my bags and explore somewhere new.
Me too. Remember, everyone, even if you haven't traveled to these specific places, you can still use this vocabulary to talk about your own experiences. Whether it's exploring a new city in your own country or simply trying a dish from a different culture for the first time.
Exactly. The most important thing is to keep practicing and using these new words and phrases in your everyday conversations. The more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
And that wraps up another fantastic episode of the English podcast with Mandy and Mark. Thanks for joining us on this linguistic journey. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a new episode. And don't forget to leave your answers to our exercises in the comments section below. We love reading your responses and seeing how much you're learning. Until next time, happy travels and happy English learning.